Today in our top headlines here at WGXA, Pioneer Avenue and Rocky Creek Road have reopened as deputies investigate an early morning crash. According to a release from the Bibb County Sheriff's Office, a truck going north on Pioneer Avenue was reported to have struck utility lines before entering the Rocky Creek Road intersection just before 7 a.m. Tuesday morning. Now, BSO says the truck didn't stop and no injuries were reported. The north and southbound lanes of traffic along Pioneer Avenue at Rocky Creek Road were then closed as utility lines had blocked the roadway for drivers. Drivers were directed to then go on I-75 north to avoid the crash site, and then drivers going south on Pioneer Avenue towards Rocky Creek Road were being redirected east and west along Rocky Creek Road as a detour. Macon Bibb fire crews tackled a fire at a manufacturing facility along Airport Road on Monday afternoon. Captain Kyle Murray told WGXA that crews responded to the fire at the Pactiv Corporation location and found the building with smoke coming out of the exterior. Now, Murray also told WGXA that crews advanced multiple attack lines into the building and found the fire within large piles of egg crate type product. And he said the density of the material made it difficult for firefighters to extinguish. At this time, there were no injuries reported and crews were successful in putting out the fire. The cause of the fire was determined to be accidental as it became in the manufacturing process of the product. Stay with WGXA on air and online as we learn more about this story.
There are 1.7 million public school students in Georgia, but about 19% are chronically absent from school, according to the Georgia Department of Education. That's over 360,000 students. That's why the Georgia Senate launched a study committee on combating chronic absenteeism in schools. In its final meeting, Senator John Kennedy says this is a problem that impacts all areas of the state.
It's all about the kids, but it's also an economic issue for the state of Georgia. It is a workforce issue for the state of Georgia. It's a community issue, and it's also a future of our children.
Absenteeism in the state of Georgia has doubled in the last 5 years. Students who are chronically absent miss 18 days or more of school. Juliana Chin, Chief Medical Officer at Cartwheel Care, says mental health determines a child's attendance.
Students struggling, I would say, with things like anxiety, depression, other emotional challenges miss far more days of schools than their peers.
With the legislative session a few weeks away, the committee's final study has been released with 22 findings and recommendations, including prohibiting cell phones in high school, possible home visits, and students losing their driver's license. Chin suggests for the state to expand its $20,000 budget per middle and high school for mental health services to elementary schools.
We can invest all we want in new textbooks, professional development, new facilities. It will fall flat if our neediest students don't come to school or struggle to sit through class.
To your local headlines, in Lawrence County, a teenager is dead and 2 people are recovering in the hospital after a shooting. Early Sunday morning, deputies found 17-year-old Javion Smith of Wrightsville with a gunshot wound on Caitlin Court. He was pronounced dead on scene. 2 others were also shot and taken to the hospital for non-life-threatening injuries. The case is still under investigation. If you know anything about what may have led to that shooting, call the Lawrence County Sheriff's Office. And a man will spend 10 years in prison for exposing himself to multiple women in Houston County. District Attorney Eric Edwards said DeMarcus Mann was sentenced on Friday after pleading guilty to 3 instances of public indecency, making this his 6th conviction for that same crime. Court evidence shows that last summer, Mann walked into 3 different insurance agencies and began talking with female employees before exposing and touching himself in front of them. In a statement, DA Edwards addressed Mann's sentencing, saying the defendant repeatedly targeted women and subjected them to traumatic conduct. Mann was not deterred by prior convictions, and his conduct posed a real threat to the safety and security of people in Houston County. In Houston County, a man pled guilty to shooting at his neighbor and selling drugs. Eric Middlebrooks is convicted for his involvement in selling drugs out of a home in Warner Robins. Back in January 2022, Middlebrooks and others were inside of a home when a search warrant was executed. Authorities recovered meth, paraphernalia, and guns in that raid. And in August of last year, Middlebrooks got into an argument with his neighbor about trash and shot at that neighbor multiple times while referencing the gang he's in. He is convicted of aggravated assault, possession of meth with intent to sell, and violation of the Street Gang Terrorism and Prevention Act. He is sentenced to 20 years with the first 12 to be served in prison. And also in Houston County, a man pled guilty after being found with drugs and child pornography. In 2022, Brian Santiago was pulled over by deputies. In his car, they found meth and paraphernalia that's used to sell drugs. In another case, Santiago was found with explicit images of children after authorities traced his IP address. He was sentenced to 30 years and will spend the first 10 in prison. Santiago will have to register as a sex offender when he's released.
Think your house has the best Christmas decorations in town? Think again. Welcome to Greg Colburn's house on Providence Lane in Warner Robins, home to roughly 35,000 LEDs from the roof to the ground.
So Clark Griswold's got nothing on you.
No, I don't think so.
He jokes that's a downgrade from last year. Along with those lights and miles of cables is an LED screen sitting right by his garage.
2,048 pixels I had to put in all by myself. It took me 5.5 days to do it.
Christmas is almost a year-round activity for Colburn. All these pieces form a synchronized 45-minute Christmas show that he built from scratch.
For one song, it can take me 4 hours to sequence just the song and the lights.
He says the longest sequence was for Christina Perri's hit 1,000 Years, which took nearly 2 days. It's quiet outside on a Monday night, but the weekends and closer to Christmas are hot times.
All the kids got up in the bed of the pickup truck and were just absolutely having a blast watching the show.
He also takes donations for Toys for Tots to help make somebody's holiday even brighter.
And more drive to keep doing the lights, for sure. And everybody runs into a rough spot, and it's usually the hardest time is about this time, and people coming by and the smile and the difference that it makes is incredible.
Whether you drive by for the show or drop off a toy for a family in need, Colburn says that's a Christmas tradition worth keeping bright for years to come.
All right, good Tuesday morning, everybody. 6:18 is our time right now. Let's take a live look here at Mercer University from the Wilson Bryant Heating and Air Skycast Network, where we are starting out here in Middle Georgia with mostly cloudy skies. Temperature over there at Mercer right now is 38 degrees with calm winds. And let's take a look at the current satellite radar together. Notice we are looking at clouds moving back into Middle Georgia after seeing a little bit of sunshine yesterday afternoon. These clouds are backing in here from the east, but notice some of them are already starting to erode and dissipate just a little bit. So these clouds will basically be sticking around this morning, early this morning, and I think by mid to late morning they'll begin to dissipate. Sunshine will be returning, and we will see more sunshine today than we've seen the last several days here in Middle Georgia, which is good news for all of us. Looking at the radar all across the entire southeast, very quiet, not much going on as far as precipitation is concerned. That will be our next frontal system moving into Middle Georgia, but right now it looks like it'll be a dry front, not producing any rain. So right now we're looking at temperatures for most all of us in the mid to upper 30s. We have 37 in Gray, 41 there in Milledgeville though, 34 Roberta, 37 in Fort Valley. Looking at 37 also there in Eastman. And let's take a look at the hour-by-hour forecast. As I said, we'll see the clouds around early this morning. By mid to late morning, they'll begin to erode and dissipate. By the afternoon, we'll see a good deal of sunshine out there with maybe a few passing clouds. But look at the highs today. Despite the sunshine coming back, only going up to near 50 degrees for our high. The average high is 63, so we continue to be well below average. Tomorrow morning, we'll start out with mostly clear skies. We'll drop down to near 30. We could actually see a few upper 20s tomorrow morning, so it's going to be a colder morning tomorrow morning than this morning. During the day tomorrow, we'll see a good deal of sunshine, some approaching high clouds possibly, but look at the highs tomorrow, about 10 degrees warmer than today, going up to near 60 degrees for tomorrow. And then tomorrow night, we're looking at that next frontal system approaching our area. It may produce a few clouds as we get into Wednesday night, but again, not expecting any precipitation with that. That will clear our area, so we'll start out Thursday morning in the 30s, and then during the day on Thursday, perhaps a little bit cooler behind that front as we'll only be going to the mid to upper 50s versus near 60 tomorrow. But again, no big change in our temperatures. We're going to stay rain-free today right on through the next several days with plenty of sunshine returning back to Middle Georgia. That is the good news for many of us. And temperatures, they'll be kind of up and down. Today near 50, tomorrow near 60, mid to upper 50s Thursday. But look at what happens as we get toward the weekend. Saturday, some of us could approach 70 degrees. And looking at 6 to 10 day temperature average, looks like we'll be slightly below here across middle Georgia. Today, we're going to see some morning clouds, afternoon sunshine, near 50 for our high. Tonight, dropping down to near 30 with some upper 20s possible, clear skies. And there's our 10-day forecast showing sunshine hanging with us today right on through the weekend with those warming temperatures into the 60s. And as we kick off next week, we'll see a shot of cooler air moving back into middle Georgia.
Light it.
Urban Meyer built college football dynasties.
Football is a way of life.
Mark Ingram II ran his way to a Heisman.
I'm gonna do the rest of the show with this thing.
Rob Stone calls it like he sees it. This is the Triple Option, where legends tackle the biggest headlines in college football and the NFL with guests who don't hold back.
You're not winning with that owner. Wow.
It's football talk that hits harder than game day. The Triple Option, presented by Wendy's, wherever you